Hello all, my name is Krish Naik and welcome to my YouTube channel. So guys, yet another amazing end-to-end LLM project using Google Gemini Pro. And this time we are probably going to create an application which will be able to convert text into SQL queries, and it will also be able to retrieve data from the SQL database. So there are many things to be discussed in this specific project. We will be implementing completely from scratch. Please make sure that you watch this video till the end, because at the end of the day, by using generative AI, you can definitely use many techniques to solve common problems that we have, in different domains. So before I go ahead, if you are new to this particular channel, please make sure that you hit like, share with all your friends and subscribe the channel itself. Along with this, we'll keep the like target to 1,000. Please try to make it that, because it will motivate me to upload more amazing videos for you all. So as we go ahead, guys, first of all, we will try to see the demo. So right now I have a student database. Okay, I will show you how to create the database. Everything I'll show you step by step as we go ahead. Now, if I ask any question over here, let's say that I will ask, tell me all the students' name. Okay, so this is the text that I'm specifically giving. So as soon as I click ask the question, it is going to give me all the students who are studying in the specific, all the classes that I have in my database. Not only this, let's say if I go ahead and ask, tell me all the students' name whose marks is greater than 85. Okay, so if I go ahead and ask this question, now it is going to retrieve all the information from the SQL database. So the response that I'm probably getting is this: Krish, Sudhanshu and Darius. Okay, so I have 3 records where I have all the students whose marks is greater than 85. Now, how you will be building this, everything will be discussing step by step. We will try to see how you can actually code it, and I'll probably write each and every line of code for you all. Okay, so let me just go ahead and open my VS Code. So this is the VS Code, and here I'm going to do my entire coding. We will go step by step as usual. So the first thing what I will do is that I will go ahead and open my terminal. And the first thing that I really want to do is that create a new environment. Now, many people have confusion regarding creating a new environment, because I use the conda command. Okay, if you don't want to use the conda command, so here you can just go and search for Python create virtual env, right? So by this you will be able to get the command. Just refer to this. You just need to create something like this: Python mvenv. If you do this much, right, you will be able to create the virtual environment. Okay, and then inside that virtual environment, you can go ahead and install all the libraries. First of all, you need to activate those. Okay, either you can use this command, otherwise what you can actually do, you can use conda, right? I usually use conda because I already have Anaconda installed in this. So I will go ahead and write conda create -p venv will be my environment name with Python version. As usual, as you know, Google Gemini Pro works specifically good with 3.9 plus, right? So this version we will use, and I'll give a note saying that why, so that it does not ask me any specific permission over here. Okay, so this is the command that we are going to specifically use. Now let me quickly go ahead and install all the create a new environment. So at the end of the day, a venv environment will get created. And please go along with me, guys, because I'm going to show you each and every steps that is specifically required over here. So it may take some amount of time. Till then, what I will do, I will go ahead and write my requirement.txt. Here I will specifically write all the libraries that I really need to install it. The next thing is that I will also create .env file. Here you'll be able to see in this .env file, I will write my key, right, the Google Gemini Pro API key. Now, once you are done with this, then first of all, I will go ahead and write my SQL.py file. This file will be responsible in creating the database, creating the table, inserting all the records. So all the code I will specifically be writing in SQL.py, and along with that, I will go ahead and create one more app.py file. Okay. So in this app.py, I will create my Streamlit app. From here, my entire LLM application will be created. then this LLM application should interact with the database. Okay. So over here, my environment is getting got created. So I will go ahead and activate this environment. So here I will go ahead and let's say, first of all, I will clear my screen. Okay. So now I will go ahead and activate VENV. Okay. So my environment has been activated VENV. So inside this, I will go ahead and install all my requirements. Now, before I go ahead, guys, some very important points. Okay. First of all, we'll try to understand what exactly the entire application is all about. So here I will open a notebook file. So agenda is basically text to SQL LLM application. Now, when I say text, this is basically natural language text, right? To SQL. So that basically means my LLM application will convert this text to SQL query, and then we can use this SQL query to hit our database and retrieve the results. Okay. So overall flow of the entire project will be something like this. We will try to create a prompt. I will give my own custom prompt saying that, let's say that how many students are studying in this class. Okay. Or tell me which student is first rank, second rank, something like that. Okay. So over here, I will give my prompt. This prompt will go to the LLM application. This LLM application, which is nothing but Gemini Pro, will, based on this prompt, it will give us a query. And then we can use this query to hit the SQL database, and finally we'll get the response. So here, implementation wise, right? Two important things we need to implement. One, I will be using a local DB like SQLite. You can see, you can use MySQL, you can use different types of database. But just to show you an example and quickly, without much hassle-less setup, I will try to use SQLite because I can actually do it in my local also. So I will probably create a SQLite DB. I will insert some records, right? And this entirely I'll do with the help of Python programming language. So this will be my first step of implementation. The second step of implementation will be, I will try to create my LLM application. Using this, I will go ahead and probably use Gemini Pro. And this Gemini Pro, whatever SQL query it is generating, it will go ahead and hit that particular database. So the implementation wise, these are the two main steps. So let's go ahead and start this. So first of all, in requirement.txt, I will go ahead and set my requirement.txt, and here you will require Streamlit because we are going to create our front end using Streamlit. The second library that we specifically require over here is Google Generative AI. Okay. The next library that we require is python.env. Okay. So these three are my libraries that I will be requiring. So I will go ahead and install my requirement.txt. Okay. So quickly we will go ahead and install this because these are the three libraries I will specifically require. So once this requirement.txt has been installed, what I will do is that I will go to sql.py and start creating my first thing that is required basically to create the database and all. And as I said, I'm going to use SQLite. Okay. So I will have one DB file over here, which will have all the tables and all. You can open that in the SQLite GUI interface, right? You can download it from Google and open it. Okay. So let's wait till this installation is happening. Once this installation happens, so let me just go ahead and write the code. So over here, I will try to create the database with the help of Python, insert some records also. So let me go ahead and import SQLite 3. So SQLite 3 by default comes along with the Python environment, Python setup itself, right? Then I will write a connect to SQLite. So I will write a command to this. So that basically means we will create our database. So I will write connection is equal to SQLite 3 dot connect. And here I'm going to basically write student.db. Okay. So here you can see the installation is done. And as soon as the installation completed, see everything is basically coming over here, right? So this highlighting is also coming, right? Now I'll close this. Now let's go ahead and create my first DB. So DB name is student.db. And then I will create a cursor. This cursor will be responsible in inserting, retrieving, like insert record, create table, right? Or retrieve result, right? It can execute anything, right? So here I will create this cursor and I'll write connection dot cursor. Okay, perfect. Then let me go ahead and create the table also. So I'm going to go ahead and create the table. I will write my table info is equal to, now what I'm going to write, I'm going to write my query. So in this particular table, I'm going to create 3 important fields. Okay, so I have name, I have class, I have section, I have marks. So 4 important 4 columns you can basically say, right? So in this table, the table name is student, a simple SQL query table. So here you can see create table student with name varchar 25, class varchar, that basically means can have numerical values, it can have alphabetical values, it can also have alphanumeric values. Then the third column is basically section. Section basically means what section you belong to, like it can be A, B, C. And then I have marks, which is an integer value. So in this, by using this command, we can execute or we can create our table. So for creating our table now, I will write cursor dot execute, and here I will just go ahead and write my table info. Okay. Now let's go ahead and insert some more records. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and insert some more records. Here I will write cursor dot execute, and whatever insert records that you really want to do, you can write it over here. Okay. So for this, I have already created my query, which I think if you have some basic knowledge, you'll be able to understand. So here you can see that I have inserted, I'm trying to insert 4 records. So in my first record, I am saying insert into student values, Krish, data science, A section 90. Okay. Insert into student values again. The second record is Sudhanshu, data science B 100. Okay. Then again, the third record has Darius, data science A 86. 86 is the marks. Okay. And similarly, you have Vikas, you have Dipesh, and all these particular values are there. Okay. Now, these are the records that I really want to execute. So as soon as this command gets executed, then all the records will get created. Okay. Then I will go ahead and display, just to display for our sake, I will display all the records. Perfect. So I will say print the inserted records are, okay, and quickly I will write data is equal to cursor dot execute, and this time I will go ahead and write my query, select star from student. Okay. So as soon as I execute the query, I will write another thing for row in data, print row. Now, since we are reading from the data, whatever things we are inserting, to complete all the operation, we should close the connection, right? We should close the connection, right? Please make sure that you close the connection, otherwise you'll get an error. Okay. So once you close the connection, for closing the connection, it's very simple. You need to write connection.commit, because this is your final commit after the insert. And along with this, what you will do, you will go ahead and write connection.close. Okay. So everything I have specifically written over here. So this is my entire command. This is good enough. Let's see whether our DB will get created or not. So once I execute this entire file, you'll be able to see one student.db file will get created over here, right? A SQLite file. So now what I will do is that I will go ahead and open my terminal. Okay. Now in order to run this, I will clear the screen. I will go ahead and write Python SQL.py. So now here you can see that all the records are inserted. Okay. And it is showing that what all records are inserted. And here you can probably see that student.db file has also got created. So this completes our first and the foremost important step. Now you can insert any number of records, because at least we need to have some data in the database, right? Now in the second step, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an LLM application with the help of Gemini Pro. Here our main aim will be that whenever we give a prompt, it should be able to convert into a SQL query. Okay. So then that we can take that SQL query and hit our database. Okay. Whatever the SQLite DB database is created. So this step is done. I will close this terminal. I will go ahead and open my app.py. Now inside this app.py, I will start writing my code. So first of all, as usual, as I said, here is what I'm going to create my application. So I will write from .env import load underscore .env. Okay. Then I will go ahead and write load underscore. Let me see whether I have imported or installed this. Yeah, python.env is there. Perfect. So this is there. So we will load all the environment variables. Okay. Then we will go ahead and import Streamlit as st. Import Streamlit as a st. I'll save it. Okay. Then I will go ahead and import OS. Along with this, we'll import SQLite 3 because I need to hit that specific database. Now, along with this, I will also import Google.generative AI as Gen AI. Okay. So Gen AI is done. I'm also going to use this library. Now we will go ahead and configure our API key. Okay. Now in order to configure it is very simple. I will go ahead and write genai.configure. genai.configure. Okay. So this is Gen AI. Okay. genai.configure. And here I'm going to use API underscore key is equal to os dot get the environment variable, and we will go ahead and set our Google API key, right? We require the Google API key over here, right? So Google API key, what it is basically there in the env file. So still we have not created the Google API key over here. So what I will do, I have already created my Google API key for Gemini Pro, right? Now, if you really need to know how you need to create it, just go ahead and just go to this particular website, makeasuit.google.com/app API key. And you just need to click over here, create an API key. So I have already created it. So once you click over here, the API key will get generated. Okay. Just go to this website, makeasuit.google.com/app/API key. Now here is my API key, which I have already put in the environment variable. Now I will go ahead and consume that, right? So it will be for the same name, Google API key. Okay. So I hope it is clear till here, right? You have configured in a very simple manner. You have configured this entire API key. Now the next step. Now what will be the next step with respect to this, right? So first of all, as usual, I will do one important thing is that I will go ahead and create my function to load Google Gemini model. Okay. And provide query as response, right? The SQL query. So we are going to probably provide the SQL query as the response. Right. So first thing first, what I'm going to do, I'm going to write get definition, get Gemini response. And here I'm going to basically give two things. One is the question that I'm asking and the prompt. This prompt is like how we want a Google Gemini Pro to behave, right? So here I'm going to basically write model.genai.generate content. So here I will write generative model. Okay. And we are going to load our model Gemini Pro. Okay. So generative model, genai.generative model. So this will basically be my way of calling the Gemini Pro or loading the Gemini Pro model. And then I will just go ahead and write my model response. So it will be model.generate underscore content. Okay. So this generate underscore content is the function where I will give two important information. One is the prompt, and since I'm going to one is the prompt, and the second thing that I'm going to give is my question, right? The first parameter that you see over here, we are basically saying from this prompt how this model should behave like, and this is basically my question, my natural language text, which I really want to convert into a SQL query. And then finally we will go ahead and return response.text. Perfect. So done. This is all done over here. I think it works absolutely fine till here. We have everything ready, and this is my function to load the Gemini model and then provide SQL query as response. Perfect. So let me just see. So till here everything looks good. Now we will go ahead and create another function. We will go ahead and create another function to retrieve query from the SQL database. Okay, so see, this method is basically giving a SQL query from natural language text. It is converting into a SQL query. Now this method will basically will take that SQL query, hit the database and get the result. So here I am going to write definition read SQL query, and here I am going to provide two parameters, SQL and DB. I'll create the connection and go ahead and write SQLite3 dot connect my database, whatever database name I'm giving over here. And then I'm going to create my cursor. So it will be conn dot cursor, right? Then cursor dot execute. Okay. And here I'm going to give my SQL command. Whatever SQL command is over here, I'm going to give it. Then rows is equal to current dot fetch all, whatever execute query I'm basically writing. Connection dot commit, and then finally connection dot close. So we are retrieving the results, keeping all the values in rows. Okay. And then I can go ahead and print this rows also if you want. So for row in rows, print all the records. Along with this, I can return all the rows, right? Something like this. So this is the query. This is the function which will take the SQL query that has been generated by this LLM model, and it is going to hit this SQL database, and the database name will be available over here. So this is what this entire function is doing. So in short, if I talk about more over here, right, this is basically the second step that is happening, right? Now, once we define this two function, now I will go ahead and define my prompt. Now, this is the most important thing. If you don't define this prompt properly, okay, then this becomes a challenge. So take your time in reading this prompt. Now, this prompt is the information that I'm giving my model, like how it should behave like, okay? So over here, you can see, define your prompt. I'm saying that you are an expert in converting English question to SQL query. The SQL database has the name student and has the following columns: name, class, section. So for example, name, class, section and marks. Okay. For example, how many entries of records are present? The SQL command will be something like select count star from student. Example 2, tell me this all the students studying in the data science class, right? And here you can see the SQL command will be something like select star from student where class is equal to data science. Also, the SQL code should not have this quotes in the beginning or end and the SQL word in the output. Okay, so this is what is the prompt that I have actually defined, and this prompt will be passed over here, right, in this particular parameter, like this prompt parameter. And right now this is in the form of list. So what I can do, I can also give multiple prompts if you want, but I'll make it as prompt of 0 since I just have one prompt. Now this is done. The next step will be creating a Streamlit app. So here is my Streamlit app. I'll say I can retrieve any SQL query, Gemini app to retrieve SQL data. Question as I've taken one input box, one submit button. Okay. Only two things we require. Now, if submit is clicked, Okay, so here I will go ahead and write if submit. Okay, the response will be get Gemini response, and here I'm going to give two parameter. One is the question, whatever question I have over here, and the other one is specifically my prompt. Okay, so whatever prompt I have defined over here. So this two information will go to Google Gemini response here, and then it will probably take this two information and generate the SQL query. Okay, after we get the SQL query, I can also print the response over here. Okay, I will print the response. Okay, so let me make the same spelling. Once we print the response, now I will also again create another response. So here let me go ahead and write data. Okay, because we'll take this response, and now I will go ahead and call my read SQL query. I will take this response, which will be in the form of query, comma, I will give my database name. So database name is nothing but student.db. Okay, once I get the data, all I will do is that I'll write st.subheader, and let me go ahead and write the response is the response is for row in response. Okay, I will go ahead and write print row. I can print all the row. Sorry, from row in data I have to write, not response, because this will be my final one. And then I will go ahead and display it in my st.header, and I will go ahead and write row. So this is what is my Streamlit app. And now let's check whether this particular code will run or not. So I'll go ahead and open my terminal. Now it's time to basically run this code, and let's see whether it will run or not. So I will go ahead and write Streamlit run app.py. See, right now I've just given two examples, guys. You can give any number of examples. Okay. No module named. Okay, I've done a spelling mistake. Let's see. Google. Okay, that is the reason it was not getting uploaded. Generative. Let's see. Now it should work. Rerun. Google.generative AI. Okay, sorry, I missed AI. Rerun. Now it is there. Now let's see once I write the query. As you all know, in my query, what all information I had, I basically inserted Krish, Sudhanshu, this, right? Then I will go ahead and say, provide me the average marks of all students. Okay. Let's see. This becomes a complicated query. 72.2. So here, just to verify what all query it has developed, we will see to it. So here you can see select average marks from student. And remember, this previous error was because of the previous one. Select average marks from student 72.2. See here you are clearly getting this, and the query is also generated well. So if I say provide the average marks of all student class wise. Okay. Let's see. So DevOps 42.5, the data science 92.0. And if you want to see the query also, you can probably see select class average marks from student. Okay. So this is group by class. See, group by is also done. And by this, you are able to get this entire information. Now go ahead and write any complicated class. If you really want to make this application more better, then you try to write this kind of examples as many as you can, right? Once you're able to do that, trust me, it can write very complex queries also. So we tried it. I tried it with different things like ranking, probably tell me, I'll say provide the student name with second highest marks class wise. Okay. So if I go ahead and ask this question, you'll be able to see Krish 90, right? So obviously in data science, I did not get that much marks. So here you can see if out of 100 was first, and this is there, right? So this looks absolutely amazing. So go ahead and try it from your side and see. And here you can see how complicated query it has basically written. So I hope you liked this particular video. If you liked it, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel, press the bell notification icon. I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day. Thank you, one and all. Take care. Bye-bye.